Patriots fans, let's be real. There's been no shortage of shakeups this offseason. We've seen moves all across the board, but one spot still feels kind of untouched. And that's where today's focus lands, the running back position. Yeah, it's been quiet there. Almost too quiet. And you know how it goes. When something's that quiet, something's probably brewing. Even in the calm of the spring break stretch, this team never really sleeps. And trust me, the conversations around the backfield are picking up steam behind the scenes. One of the coaches recently gave a pretty honest take. He acknowledged what we've all been thinking: the handoffs, the ball security issues, and the fumbles that have haunted this team at key moments. It's not just fans complaining on social media. The coaching staff is aware, and they're not ignoring it. He even pointed out how this isn't just about fixing one guy's problem. It's about getting everyone on board with protecting the football. That's fundamental stuff. We're talking day one of training camp level fundamentals. But if you're trying to build something real on offense, it always starts there. Secure the ball, move the chains, keep your quarterback upright. Simple football logic. And speaking of building, let's not forget, the Patriots want to inject this offense with some fresh juice. Young, explosive players who can bring something different to the table. And when we look at the draft and where the Patriots stand with 9 picks in hand, it's not a stretch to say that running back is on the list. Like, for real. It's not a maybe. It's pretty much a given. Even if the team isn't screaming it from the rooftops, it feels inevitable that a new name is coming to that running back room. There's also talk, not confirmed but definitely floating out there, that one of the current backs might not be sticking around much longer. Now, whether that's just speculation or something with a little more smoke behind it, we'll see. But I'm not totally sold on the idea of him getting cut loose. I actually think, in the right system, he can shine. If you look back at his tape and break down the numbers, you'll see flashes. This is a guy who's shown he could be a legitimate threat, catching passes out of the backfield. And if you play fantasy football, you probably already know what I'm talking about. In PPR formats, especially full-point leagues, he's been a sneaky good option when he's healthy and involved in the passing game. Last season, there were moments, not a ton, but enough to make you take notice, where his speed and versatility really stood out. He's not your prototypical small, shifty back, but he's got enough wiggle and hands to keep defenses honest. And there's a coach on this staff who's worked with similar types before. Again, he's not a perfect comp, but the potential is there, especially when you compare him to some other guys on the roster who haven't quite popped in the passing game. That's where the value lies. Because today's NFL isn't just about ground and pound anymore. It's about being dynamic. You got to be able to do both, run and catch. And if you can't, you better be elite at one of them. Now, as we turn our eyes to the upcoming draft, the conversation naturally shifts to who's available and who might fit. And look, every time this comes up, there's one name that everyone wants to throw out there. The obvious choice. But you know how the Patriots operate. They don't always go with the obvious. In fact, they almost never do. So I wouldn't be shocked if they passed on that big name and went with someone a little more under the radar. And there are a few of those guys who really catch my attention. There's one kid from a major college program that's absolutely worth talking about. His production is strong, but more importantly, he fits the scheme. This isn't just about stats. It's about how a player translates to what the Patriots want to do offensively. This guy, he fits. He's quick, explosive, and clocked one of the fastest 40-yard dash times at the combine. Like, we're talking elite-level burst. The type of speed that makes defenders miss even when they've got the angle. You love to see that. And what's crazy is he didn't just run fast in shorts. His college film backs it up. He played in a system that really leaned on running backs to catch the ball, whether it was screens, swing passes, or deeper routes from the backfield. He was productive in all of it. We're talking close to 1,600 rushing yards in a single season, with a crazy good average per carry and a strong number of touchdowns. Add in his receiving stats, and suddenly you're looking at a complete back. The kind of player who can force defenses to make tough decisions. Do you stack the box and risk getting beat on a screen? Or do you hang back and pray he doesn't gash you inside? A lot of analysts have started to take notice. One of them said something the other day that stuck with me. He called this player a potential star in the right offense. And man, that sounds like exactly what the Patriots are trying to build. You give a coach like this the right weapon, and he'll find a way to use him. Especially a guy with speed, vision, and pass-catching chops. That's exactly the type of player that's missing right now from New England's backfield. So yeah, while most fans are out there trying to predict the first-round pick or dreaming about a shiny new wide receiver, I'm looking at the backfield. Because let's be honest, this offense needs some spark, and it wouldn't surprise me one bit if that spark comes in the form of a mid-round running back who turns heads as soon as training camp opens. And that brings us to his second name. Another guy I've got my eye on. This one's even faster. He played at a Southern university that's been making waves lately under a new coaching regime. The offense he was in? High tempo, high pressure, all gas, no brakes. A perfect place to grow as a dual threat back. This dude? He ran a 40 in 4.38 seconds. Let that sink in for a second. That's rare air. And he wasn't just a track star. He produced. You watch his film, and the explosion is real. We'll get more into him in a bit, but just know, the Patriots are looking. They know they need someone who can catch out of the backfield, create mismatches, and stretch the field horizontally. And with the draft closing in fast, it's only a matter of time before we find out which of these guys gets the call. Now, circling back to that second running back, the one with the blazing speed. Let's talk about where he came from and why he's such an intriguing fit. He played for a program in the South that recently underwent a transformation. The team, under a new head coach, began playing a faster, more aggressive brand of football. And in that system, the running back position had to evolve. No longer was it just about taking handoffs and grinding out tough yards. This system demanded that backs be versatile. You had to catch the ball, you had to read defenses on the fly, and you had to be quick enough to exploit even the smallest crease. And this kid did all of that. His name is popping up in more and more draft discussions lately, even though he's not seen as a top-tier pick. Most projections have him going somewhere in the third round, maybe a little later. But if you know what you're looking at, he's got all the tools to make an immediate impact. What separates him is how fluid he is in space. He doesn't just run fast. He moves like he's gliding, always under control, always setting up defenders before making his cut. His ability to turn a simple swing pass into a 20-yard gain is exactly what this Patriots offense needs right now. And here's the kicker. He's not the only one in that mold. There are others in this draft class who fit a similar profile. Another one, Woody Marks, is worth keeping an eye on. But even between these two, you can see a common thread. They're not just runners. They're offensive weapons. They're the kind of players you scheme for, not just plug in on 1st and 10. When we start talking about how these players fit into an offense like Josh McDaniels, even though he's not currently calling plays for the Patriots, the prototype becomes pretty clear. You want someone who can get out into space, catch a pass in stride, and then do something with it. Someone like James White, for example. He was never the biggest or fastest guy on the field, but he had vision, patience, and hands. He was dangerous in the flats, on angle routes, option routes, mesh concepts. Anywhere you could get him isolated on a linebacker, he was a nightmare to cover. That's what you're trying to replicate here. That's the mold. And that's why names like Jaden Blue and RJ Harvey keep coming up. These guys aren't just good athletes. They're smart, they're versatile, and they've played in systems that required them to adapt and execute in the passing game. Jaden Blue, for example, had over 40 receptions last season, totaling more than 350 receiving yards. That might not sound like a lot until you factor in his role and the way he was used. He averaged nearly 9 yards per catch and had 6 touchdowns through the air from the backfield. That's serious production in that role. And let's not forget, his rushing stats were solid too. He averaged nearly 5.5 yards per carry, which, considering the offensive line and the defenses he was up against, is pretty impressive. He might not have had a 1,000-yard rushing season, but he brought balance. Defenses couldn't ignore him, which opened up the offense in a big way. That's exactly what the Patriots are looking for. Someone who brings options, someone who forces defenses to stay honest. RJ Harvey, he brings a different flavor. More physical, more traditional in some ways, but still with that pass-catching ability that makes him intriguing. He's a little more compact, but he runs with purpose and is tough to bring down. He's the type of player who can get you 4 yards on a tough third down, and then the next play, sneak out into the flat and pick up 15. He's got that every down back potential if developed the right way. And when you put his tape on, you can see that he knows how to set up blocks, hit the hole with urgency, and break arm tackles. It's not always flashy, but it's effective, and the Patriots love that kind of player. Now, there's another name that came up during the scouting process, Jordan James. He's a guy who, at first glance, might not scream receiving threat, but if you dig a little deeper, you'll find he's got sneaky good hands. He comes from Oregon, and if you know anything about that offense, you know it's built on versatility and tempo. Running backs are asked to do a lot: pass block, run outside zone, catch screens, and James handled all of it. His numbers might not jump off the page, but again, it's about fit. He's got the skill set to thrive in a system that values adaptability over brute force. And that's the thing. Just because a running back didn't have gaudy receiving stats in college doesn't mean he can't do it. Sometimes it's just about opportunity. Some programs don't ask their backs to catch the ball much. But once those players get to the NFL, they start to show what they're capable of. And with the Patriots, that opportunity is absolutely there. There's room in this offense for someone to come in and immediately take snaps as a third down back, or even rotate in on early downs depending on matchups. Now, all of this leads to one big question: who's staying and who's going? There's been speculation about whether a guy like Antonio Gibson will stick around, and that's a fair discussion. He's got the tools, no doubt. He's shown flashes. But the durability, the consistency, the role clarity, those are still question marks. If the Patriots bring in a rookie who's hungry, healthy, and has a clear niche in the offense, then suddenly Gibson's spot gets a little less secure. Not saying he's out, but it's definitely something to watch. So what do you think? Are Jaden Blue or RJ Harvey legit fits for New England's scheme? Is Jordan James the kind of under-the-radar talent that could thrive in Foxborough? Or is there another name you've got your eye on? We've talked about a few different possibilities before, but the deeper we get into draft season, the clearer the picture becomes. The Patriots will be adding to the running back room. That's not up for debate. The only real question left is, which one will they choose? The pieces are there. The draft board is set. And with so many different options that fit the Patriots system, from pass-catching specialists to do-it-all workhorses, this year's draft could very well bring in the next hidden gem. And you know how this team loves to find those. So don't be surprised if that mid-round pick ends up being the one everyone's talking about by the time training camp rolls around. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Imagine this: Gillette Stadium under the lights, a cold breeze sweeping through Foxborough, and walking out of the tunnel. Number 12, but not that number 12. Could it be Aaron Rodgers in Patriots blue? The NFL world has been set ablaze by whispers that could reshape the very identity of the New England Patriots. After the New York Jets' official announcement to part ways with the four-time MVP, rumors are swirling faster than a Belichick game plan in playoff week. Rodgers, with over 500 career touchdown passes and a legacy already chiseled into Canton stone, is once again the league's biggest question mark. But this time, the destination? It just might be the hallowed grounds of Foxborough. If the Patriots are truly in talks, or even just dreaming, of adding Rodgers to their roster, it signals something far bigger than a quarterback search. This is about legacy. The chance to bring in one of the most cerebral, accurate, and battle-tested quarterbacks in NFL history to a team looking to redefine itself post-Brady. It's a move that could immediately place the Patriots back in the playoff conversation, and perhaps even reignite the dynasty fire. Of course, questions abound. At 41, Rodgers is coming off a turbulent season with the Jets, marked by injury, frustration, flashes of brilliance, and persistent locker room rumors. Can he still perform at an elite level behind a Patriots offensive line in rebuild mode? Could he adapt to a Bill O'Brien system, or would the team pivot to fit Rodgers' preferences? And maybe the biggest question of all, would Patriots Nation welcome him? But one thing's for sure, this rumor isn't just smoke. It's gasoline on the bonfire of off-season speculation. Whether Rodgers dons the flying Elvis or not, the idea alone has sparked excitement, debate, and a sense of possibility the Patriots haven't felt in years. Stay tuned, because if this becomes reality, Foxborough will never be the same again. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.